Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Junix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tundu Abiola.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai Oseni.
Good morning, Audrey. How are you?
I'm doing excellent.
Right.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
In the United States, tributes pour in for Madeleine Albright, the first female Secretary of State and a pop culture feminist icon who died on Wednesday from cancer. Albright was a tough-talking diplomat in an administration that hesitated to involve itself in the two biggest foreign policy crises of the 1990s, the genocides in Rwanda and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Albright was U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations from 1993 to 1997 and Bill Clinton's Secretary of State from 1997 to 2001. She was 84 years old. And billionaire philanthropist Mackenzie Scott on Wednesday donated a whopping $275 million to women's healthcare provider Planned Parenthood, the largest gift from a single donor in the organization's more than 100-year history. The donation is part of the billionaire's pledge to give majority of her wealth away after her divorce from Amazon founder and billionaire Jeff Bezos. In Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Wednesday told Britain's Prince William and Kate Middleton that his country wants to be independent, a day after protesters called on the United Kingdom to pay reparations for slavery. The royal couple arrived in Jamaica on Tuesday as part of a week-long tour of former British Caribbean colonies that coincides with Queen Elizabeth's 70 years on the throne. Under sports, the International Swimming Federation, FINA, on Wednesday banned Russian and Belarusian athletes and officials from this year's World Championships in Budapest following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. FINA had last month called off the World Junior Swimming Championships that were set to take place in the southwestern Russian city of Kazan. Finally, under entertainment, disgraced R&B singer R. Kelly, who is currently behind bars on racketeering and sex trafficking charges, is sparking social media controversy from prison after a young woman posted a now viral video of him on TikTok, serenading her over the phone. In the viral video, the woman, who claimed that R. Kelly is 7 times together with her father in a Brooklyn jail, prompted the singer to sing one of his hit songs, Love Letter.
I wanted to ask you something. Can you sing a song for me?
Which one?
Love Letter?
Did you get my call?
Oh!
Love letter. When you read my love letter.
Yes, sir!
Thank you.
Begin what's trending with comments made by Dave Umahi, Governor of Ebonyi State, who on Wednesday said that he's unbothered by the recent court judgment that removed him from office while speaking after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. The Ebonyi State Governor said it is against the Constitution for him to have been sued in the first instance, and that the Constitution says that once you are elected, you enjoy immunity. Let's take a listen before we come back for a discussion.
I'm not worried because in the first place, there is no constitutional provision that says that a governor can be sued in the first place. So I'm not suable, but a court judgment is a court judgment. I'm not to interpret it, but the Constitution we swore to uphold, I can speak to the Constitution. And the Constitution says that once you are elected, you enjoy immunity. And Supreme Court says votes cast in an election belong to the candidates. And that's why you have qualifications of a candidate and not qualifications of a political party. So I am not worried, but you see, God allowed it so that where I couldn't reach in terms of my consultation, this situation has made it possible for me to reach those places and to truly see that Nigerians, they love me and they want me. And that is the reason for that. And I want to thank the PDP and even the man that boasted that he did that hatchet job. If people, the people that crucified Christ knew that it would bring salvation to the whole world, they wouldn't have done that. So it is likened to the hatchet man that boasted, is likened to Judas Iscariot. And so I have no worry because the Constitution is clear. I have confidence in the judiciary. And so you can see I've added some weight in these few days and looking more handsome.
I thought that was so funny. He's looking more handsome. Before we take comments from you guys, in the meantime, reports reaching us indicate that the People's Democratic Party, Ebonyi State Chapter, has allegedly petitioned the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, accusing Governor Umahi of looting the state treasury of over 6 billion naira after being sacked from office by the Federal High Court. Well, in the petition that has now gone viral on social media, the PDP lawyer claimed that the funds allegedly withdrawn by the governor were to sponsor his appeal of the court decision which sacked him from office. However, Uchenna Orji, the Ebonyi Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, in a rejoinder, claimed that the petition was irresponsibly false and malicious and a politically calculated attempt by the People's Democratic Party and desperados to damage the hard-earned reputation of the governor and to cause him distractions in his intention to run for the presidency come 2023. Dr. Abati, you know I'm coming straight to you on the story. I'm so confused with a lot of the rules and regulations in the Constitution and the Electoral Act. What does it say?
Okay,
really?
The case involving Dave Umahi and his deputy and 15 members of the Ebonyi State House of Assembly was determined by the Court of Justice Ekwo sitting in Abuja. You recall the details. The judge had said within the purview of Section 221 of the 1999 Constitution, parties are the ones that hold the mandate, not the candidates.
Not the candidates.
And then he then gave express orders that the governor should vacate his seat along with his deputy, and that the other, lawmakers, the 15 lawmakers in the Ebonyi State House of Assembly should vacate their seats because they are defected from the party, the platform that brought them to power. That, of course, ruling was very controversial at the time. And there are lawyers who argued, including Michael Zekume, SAN, and Chief Robert Clark, SAN, to the effect that under the purview of Section 308, which deals with immunity, a sitting governor cannot be sued. Some other lawyers also argued that Section 221 may not apply to governors. And a plethora of cases were cited. One, that the jurisprudence has gone beyond Amechi versus INEC. There was also Abegunde's case that was cited. There was also the Supreme Court ruling in AG Federation versus Atiku Abubakar, in which the right of a candidate to exercise his right of choice and association under Section 40 was defended. Anyway, let's cut through the chase. Now, the related case, again, was the one in the Federal High Court, again, Abuja, in the Court of Justice Taiwo, with regard to Cross River State, in which 16 members of that House of Assembly and 2 members of House of Representatives, were also asked to vacate their seats. And the arguments are more or less on all fours with some of the submissions from the Court of Justice Ekwo. Now, the case regarding Ayade is to be determined tomorrow. But in the case of Umahi has gone on appeal. Okay, that's just giving the background. Now, to some of the claims made by Governor Dave Umahi, he says he's not bothered. Well, he should be bothered because the case is still in court. He doesn't know what will come out of the Court of Appeal. So he cannot anticipate what will happen in court just on the basis of what his lawyers have told him. I think he must have heard that he enjoys immunity from his lawyer. So he too is trying to interpret the Constitution. That is the duty of the court, to determine. Now, he says he cannot be sued or whatever. Well, let the courts determine that. And he should know that immunity has a limit. Okay? The case has to do with the his right to that seat. But let him not think that that immunity, that right to immunity, will cover him for life. Okay, recent examples should show him that. He says there is one Judas Iscariot who said he was behind the case against him. Well, he didn't have the courage to mention that Judas Iscariot, because the Judas Iscariot that he's referring to, he knows that if he dared mention the name, that Judas Iscariot would descend on him heavily. So that lack of courage, I find rather suspicious. And he says he has added weight. Well, he should consult his doctors. It's not a good thing for him to add weight.
Yes.
It's not good for his health. And he says he's even more handsome.
Yes,
well,
that's what
we don't want to hear about that, whether he has become more handsome or not. He can see whatever he wants to see when he looks in the mirror in the morning.
I don't know how you know when you become more handsome, though. I don't even know what that
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So
yeah.
he's looking in the mirror and he's appreciating how he's looking. So.
Wow.
How do you take on the story?
Well, I guess because of Rishi Sunak's spring statement yesterday, I was thinking about Black Wednesday and the disastrous effect that had on the British economy. And I remembered Norman Lamont, who made a hash of things, but said, oh, he's so unbothered, he was singing in the bar. So I think that's what we're getting from Governor Umahi. And I think what that's trying to do is to give confidence to his supporters. You know, this is a completely different change. He's more sanguine now. You recall when the ruling was initially announced, he was completely furious. And I think now he's decided to take the opposite approach. I think the shock of it brought that reaction. He's had time to get used to it. He's had time to kind of massage it and put a spin on it the way politicians tend to. I think this is just to show his supporters no shaking. I think that's just what he's trying to communicate here. And like you said, you know I know the lingo. You know I do. And like you said, recent events have shown that EFCC will not come in and pounce while the governor is still sitting. But one day will come. There will be an inauguration, which signals a handover, and then they will be waiting. So till then.
Yeah, you know that second story, the EFCC has not come out to say that they received the petition or not. So we're yet to hear that side of their story, if the PDP has actually petitioned Governor Umahi.
I mean, everybody's watching, but at first, so let me react to weight gain. Weight gain is not a good thing, and I can tell you all about weight gain, because I used to have a lot of weight on me.
Yeah, you've done so well, Rufai.
So it's not a good thing, and it may be a sign of depression. So, and secondly, I mean, you talked about Norman Lamont, but you also remember Nero and Rome.
I've told you about that.
Yeah.
He wasn't fiddling while Rome burnt. I believe he set Rome ablaze
Okay,
himself.
set Rome ablaze.
Yes, I think he actually did it.
So in this case, we'll probably know who's Nero here. And concerning the man that's looking for Judas Iscariot, I mean, he should be bold enough to call the Judas Iscariot out here.
We all know.
I mean, he should be bold.
We all know.
He should be frontal enough to call out the Judas Iscariot. Let's hear it from him. I mean, but because he said a lot of things at first, when the judgment didn't go his way, didn't he? About the judge. Let's hear more. But in all of this, I'm not bothered about governors and their shenanigans. You know, I'm bothered about the state of this country. Because in all of this, he's making very vociferous arguments in the public space. Oji, his state has 40% unemployment rates. 40%. And it doesn't bother him. So it's concerning this, I'm going to stay on power. So the question we should ask politicians is, when they say they want to serve the people, are they truly genuine about the service? Because I would have thought that he should come out every day to the high heavens and say, you know, I'm working on how to solve this 40% unemployment rate in the state. But if you confront it with the data, they'll say MBS is wrong. But when MBS favors them in the data, they say, oh, MBS is right. So I think that should be, you know, the crux of the matter. Because that 40% unemployment rate bothers everybody in Ebonyi State. There are university graduates in Ebonyi State that can't get jobs. And you know what is happening because of that? There are a lot of internal crises in the state. Civil strife. People are being killed every day because of resource. So I think those are the things that should make the governor lose weight. And that's why I wonder if this crop of politicians we have truly care about the people. Because in all of this, most of the stories we always share are always about politicians boasting, trying to keep themselves in power, trying to say how handsome they are,
That I have not heard.
you know. And when somebody is telling you that is actually handsome, it speaks volumes about the person.
Well, okay.
Narcissism.
I didn't say it, Doctor, but it's good you said it. I didn't say it, but if somebody can be telling you that, oh, I look so handsome.
Yeah. He's very confident. Very confident.
Is it confidence?
We shall take another story. The Nigeria Police Force has begun an investigation after a Twitter user who goes by the name Osase Naga shared a video showing an officer arresting him for not having a tinted glass permit. Well, in the video, Osas claimed that he was made to pay a fine of 20,000 naira for not having a permit. This is coming a few days after the acting police spokesperson informed Nigerians that police officers are not to demand for a tinted glass permit. Let's take a look at the video before we come back for a discussion.
But you are a suspect.
Of what exactly?
For you to not have your tinted glass permit.
Okay, it's tinted glass, so I'm a suspect.
Yes. We have our modus of operandi of arresting people. So you not using, we arresting you for we not to use our tinted permit for seat belt. It's part of our modus. Ordinarily, you're supposed to wind down your glass. You may be.
I just told you why I don't do this. I just told you it's not
my brother. Stop playing beyond gallery. You are dealing with a professional. Every act and everything you are doing.
I
understand you more than yourself. Don't worry.
Last man stopped me and I told them, okay, see, and they said, okay, this is what you do.
My brother,
there's no issue.
You are dealing with a senior police officer.
Oh, please, my father, my uncle is a police officer in the United States. So
that's why you are doing things with impunity.
Which is
so if you are not doing things with impunity, you will have applied your tinted glass permit. Then
It's their audacity for me. It's a case of pot calling the kettle black. I mean, look at the audacity.
Oji, when I say we are mad in this country, people are arguing with me if they're busy me. Please.
That we are not mad, though.
We are not mad.
Just a few people.
Just a few people. But the truth is, look at the audacity. Blowing all sorts of incorrect grammar here, playing beyond the gallery.
It's the modus.
It's the modus of the operandis. You see, this is a sad reality in our national life. That police officers can boldly break the law when they're supposed to enforce the law. It's out there. You don't need a tinted permit. Or a permit to tint the what's it called? The
glass of your car.
The glass of your car. You don't need any of that. But you see, because he wants to collect bribe, riba, eguje, bribe. It's just bribe money. Because he has calculated if I collect 20K from that guy, I'll probably go under bridge to get pepper soup. Because it's cheaper. Maybe a plate of pepper soup is like 250, 300 there. So he's calculated with probably 1 or 2 bottles of whatever he drinks. And in his mind, that's more important to him than defending the rights of the people. Oji, this is in the same country where, last week a story broke that police officers want to go on strike. And there was a quick reportal by the authority that they're not going on strike. Do you know they've quickly increased their salaries to avert a strike? So that story was actually true. Yeah. It did leak that the officers wanted to go on strike.
Yeah.
So jokes upon that story and this. And I will now go back to the classical definition of insanity, like Albert Einstein says. Doing something over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Is this not insanity?
Yeah, well, I really commend the Osas guy for filming. Otherwise, we would not have known this.
Yes, that's a great
He
one
really
for
did
him.
well with that.
But I actually think this story is desperately sad.
Yeah.
This police officer described himself as a senior police officer.
Did.
And it's been confirmed. He's been identified as an Inspector Dele Ruben of Area F. Ruben, yes.
What?
I'm afraid that's
Dr. Abati.
Your namesake. Oh.
Dr. Ruben Abati.
Don't worry, we'll do something.
Is that something we should know?
Of Area F Police Command. And he reduced himself to this for 20,000 naira. Yeah. Like you just mentioned, Rufai, the police salary issue is a very important issue. The Federal Executive Council approved salary increment for the police force. Nothing happened. The next thing we heard was that report of a strike, which was averted. But it just also, for me, the whole issue of the suspension of the tinted glass permits last year was to do with people using tinted glass as a status symbol. You don't need it, but you want it because you want to floss. The spy number plates were also suspended. The practice of covering license plate, like some government officials do, any Tom, Dick, and Harry thought they could do that. So that had to be suspended. So we have the society where everybody just wants to be a big man, and that's just what this is about. That's why he was speaking to this man. You're harassing him, you're trying to extort him. In fact, you did extort him, but you're speaking down to him like, do you know who I am? I'm a senior police officer.
Big manism.
Yes, it's a problem across the board.
Big manism. Dr.
This police officer Ruben will have to go and change his name.
Dr. Ruben Abati, you have a case to answer.
You have to go and change that name. Anyway, it's as follows. This is not an isolated case. This is just an illustration, an example of the kind of harassment that people are subjected to, a kind of police brutality that Nigerians protested against in October 2020 when they were talking about NSAS. Now, these policemen, they've remained a menace on the streets of Nigeria. If they don't ask for permit for tinted glass, they ask for fire extinguisher. They even ask for NIN number, national identification number. They ask for BVN.
Fire extinguisher.
And if you carry a phone that they think is expensive, they say they want to see what is inside the phone. And they could accuse you of being a Yahoo person.
Yes.
So this harassment continues. And that is why the police spokesperson, CSP Olumiwa Adejobi, disclosed on Twitter that, look, this tinted glass permit was suspended May 2021. And then he went a step further to say, look, here are numbers for police complaint unit. Anybody that harasses you, a set of about 5 or 6 numbers, including WhatsApp lines that you are required to report to if any police officer should treat you in this kind of manner. But how many Nigerians will summon the courage to report a senior police officer at that, particularly if that policeman is carrying a weapon? There have been many cases of accidental discharge. And these are policemen who have not been paid the salary increase, who have not received their welfare packages. In fact, the Inspector General of Police, after appealing to them not to go on strike, started visiting one police command to the other. So you want to go and carry phone to call a police complaint unit, you just die. So, and that's why many Nigerians, they resort to just paying something.
Yeah.
This particular gentleman was charged 200,000 naira when he got to the police station. He managed to buy his freedom with 20,000 naira, and he was not given a receipt. But the police force, they've said they are already investigating the matter. Yes. And we just hope that they will not sweep it under the carpet. And that this particular police officer will be made an example of. Now that he has been, identified. And
identified by the police.
Don't attach my name to him. I'm not a senior police officer.
Ruben Dele.
All right, then. We shall take our final story. Well, the National Youth Service Corps has directed prospective female corps members to report for registration at the orientation camps in their husband's state of domicile, irrespective of the states indicated on their call-up letters. Well, the Director General of the NYSC, Major General Shuaibu Ibrahim, gave the directive in a nationwide virtual address to the 2022 batch. The female corps members are to report to the camp with their marriage certificates, evidence of change of name in a national newspaper, and other valid marriage documents that were uploaded online during registration for service. I don't know, I feel overjoyed by this story. I'm delighted to know that, they care about a union, a family union, and to make sure that, yeah, I do. I like the fact that they're not going to be separated.
So
I like that.
Sexist.
Why? I don't see it. There was an issue that occurred, and that's why this happened, about a woman who said that she was actually discharged. It's still an allegation. She was actually discharged because she was married. But go ahead.
This is completely out of order.
Yeah.
I do support keeping
A
hearth
union, yeah.
and home.
That's what I
very
like,
important.
yeah.
But the proper phrasing should be that married people
As opposed to
should
women,
be
yes.
Husbands also need to preserve their home. Why is
Yeah.
it always phrased in this way?
Yeah.
This is a country where only recently you needed a letter of consent from your husband to renew your passport as a Nigerian woman. It took a Dr. Priye Amadi to go to court. That was just in what? 2009 that happened. And the court had to rule in her favor that it's a breach of her rights. We have women protesting in the National Assembly today because of the shameful behavior of our representatives.
True.
And they've only just suspended that for what? They just suspended a few days ago when the House leadership finally came out to meet them. They've been there for weeks. So really there's a sexist undertone here. It should be married people, period. If you're married, it's your state of residence. What is married women should be where their husband... Yeah, so no, it should be called out.
You cannot be more correct.
Yeah, it's
very sexist.
But you too, you are correct in a sense.
Yes, I am. I know I am. I'm not
Where she is correct is that this is a throwback to that biblical line.
Yeah.
Matthew 9 verse 16. That what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. However, it's sexist. It's sexist because it's targeting women.
Yeah.
And some of the conditions that the NYSC is given is that you have to show proof of change of name.
Yes.
Published in the newspaper.
Because of that.
Some women will say they don't want to change their name.
Everybody changes their name. It's
I think it's totally sexist. This is the same country where a judge was not confirmed because her husband was from another state.
I think the ruling
she couldn't
will
claim the state of her
stay,
husband.
In Cross River State.
In Cross River State. What's it called? Nimi Akikugbe had a lot of problems for being an ambassador from Ondo State. It's sexist.
Yes, it is sexist. At the same time, it's great. So let us all just agree to disagree at this point. Thank you all for your beautiful analysis. As always, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.